We have a house.
Let's pray. Heavenly Father, tonight I pray for each elected official of Madison County, that they live and walk in honor, integrity, transparency, and dignity as they represent us. Heavenly Father, help them to seek your wisdom and Holy Spirit's guidance as they exercise the authority that we, the people, have entrusted to them. God of all power and might, I ask that you strengthen them to govern as courageous leaders, to defend and advance your values and what is best for the people of Madison County as they face difficult decisions and demands. Father, protect us from corruption and self-interest. I pray for unity, peace, and safety within our community, and that we offer only helpful solutions with hearts without malice. I decree these things in the mighty name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the
flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, let's go ahead and call this meeting. I've been asked to request that we stay, just as the prayer said, civil, kind, no harsh words. If there's, we do not want to ask you to leave, but we will. No name calling, be respectful. You can have 3 minutes of public comment, state your name and just the city that you live in. And that's it. That's what we request, that we're kind and decent and Iowa nice.
All right, thank you, Diane. All right, we're going to go ahead and call this meeting to order. May I have a roll call, please?
Supervisor Hall? Here. Supervisor Schneider?
Here.
Supervisor Fitch? Here.
All right, we'll go ahead and review the agenda. Any disclosure or conflict of interest or amendments to the agenda? We're going to leave that. We are going to leave that. Currently, normally we have public comment first, but in this one, we're going to do our presentation from our roads engineer first, because get that out of the way so you can go home. If you want, unless you stay.
No. Either way.
And then we'll go into the public comment. Also, presentations, Executive Director Ryan Marquardt had a conflict today, so he is postponing his presentation for the Madison County Development Group until our next meeting, so that is removed from our agenda. So we'll go ahead and, if there's nothing else, move on to the consent agenda. Do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I will make a motion to approve. I've already reached out to, there are some just corrections, and Kayla has corrected them, so I will make a motion with those corrected minutes.
And do I have a second? Second. All right, any discussion?
Bailey.
All in favor, please vote aye.
Aye.
All right, motion consent agenda is approved. All right, Mike, our secondary roads engineer, you're up.
Thank you. I'm going to present a PowerPoint here. Going to make a little bit of technical changes. Hopefully everything works for us. I will speak up the best I can. I know we have got quite a few people in the room tonight. We'll go through a lot of stuff. Short. Good. Hey, technology's working. Good. Second here. Normally I do this in about 30 minutes. I'll try to move through this as fast as I can. A lot of this information that I'm presenting is from the Iowa Department of Transportation. There's references at the bottom that you can see and go out to their website and get more information if you wish. Also, the 5-year construction program maps will be also on our website if you want to look at those at a later time. So here we are, Madison County Secondary Roads 5-year construction program and secondary road budget, and I'm going to add Iowa DOT road budget, which are parallel our local budget. Got some pictures there to kind of make it not so boring. Trust me. Last time I did this, it didn't have near as big of crowds. Okay, our secondary road 5-year construction program and secondary budget. I'm not going to read every point here, but basically it's required by Iowa Code 30922, 30993, and it's due electronically submitted to the DOT by April 15th. And we've had some changes in some laws where we actually can ratify it a little later in May, but it has to be sent electronically to the DOT for review. It's a big process to go through this. Just kind of a lot of the stuff that I'm going to present here is a lot of the facts that go into this planning, and it is planning. We have 916 miles of total highway, 744 are gravel, and between asphalt and PC, we're at 114 miles plus or minus. Okay, the secondary road 5-year construction program. The secondary road 5-year construction program is a mechanism for the development of plans and funding for the development, construction, and reconstruction of projects. Now I'm going to emphasize development of planning and fundings for development. Remember that as we go through this. The projects in the secondary road 5-year construction program are generally large projects. Large projects consist of bridge replacements, paving, culverts, culverts that are larger than 48 inches in diameter, grading a road longer than 500 feet or more. It's submitted electronically to the Iowa DOT for approval by April 15th. That's what I was talking before. Adopted annually by the Board of Supervisors before May of each year. The submittal must indicate federal aid, SWAP, state aid, farm to market, and local construction projects with accomplishment years and the proposed priority year lists for the succeeding 4 fiscal years based upon available construction funds. Whew, that's a lot. So basically what we're saying here is we have to have our fundings in place. Year 1 is allocation year. That's when it's going to be let. 5, 4, 3 are planning phases in order to try to get all this federal aid money or other monies planned in there. And we're going to go into that a little bit more. The secondary road budget is parallel to this thing. Large projects is reflected in the secondary road budget when the projects require reimbursement funding or if the projects are funded locally. Bridge replacement projects, pavement surfacing are typically reimbursed funds and not funded locally. About the only thing we are able to do here is culverts. So a lot of our culvert replacements are funded locally, and when I say culverts, a lot of those are metal culverts, not box culverts. It also includes daily operations for maintenance, and those things are also in this budget, and that's rock resurfacing, traffic control, snow removal, ditching, brush control, bridge and culvert repairs, pavement patching, pavement shouldering, road blading, equipment maintenance, and operating maintenance, and I could go on and on and on, but that's pretty much the main stuff here. Okay, funding. Funding is a big part of this. Funding in the secondary road 5-year. Follow me. Here we go. Okay. Currently, right now, this is what we have for funding sources. We have farm market, which I think we've heard that term before. We have STBG program, which is surface block grant. That's federal aid. Community project, that's congressional money. That's technically federal aid. Highway Bridge Program, HBP, that's federal aid. And then you have Highway Bridge Program SWAP, HBP, which is federal aid given to the state that the state gives to us. Still federal aid money, but that's how that works.
Do we have to match that?
Get that. Yep. Highway Safety Improvement Local, I think I brought that a couple times to the board here recently. It's HSIP and TSIP. Those are safety programs. Help with stuff. County Bridge Construction Fund. There's also a City Bridge Construction Fund. We use that for the Peru Bridge project. So, safety improvement. This is new. There was a meeting here. This is new on the federal level. It's called SAP. It's also federal aid money, and then local funds. So those are the things we have to consider as we're going through this 5-year program and try to get them to work together with each other the best we can. Some of it has to have match money. So here's an example of Cummings Road. We actually led a project this winter. It is all farm to market money. So it's $4 million worth of farm to market money. There wasn't any federal aid and there's no local tax money for that. That's all farm to market money. Farm to market revenues is collected from gas tax, registration fees, excise tax from automobiles. We currently receive about $1 million a year for farm to market running. Farm to market money can only be used on farm to market roads, can only be used for construction process. Madison County's current farm to market balance is negative $0.3 million. Remember, we just led a project. So with current construction obligations, so we're in the hole. Okay. You're allowed to borrow ahead with restrictions, and you can combine farm to market monies with other federal aid monies when you need matches. I know this map's hard to see, but basically all the dark lines on that map are our farm to market roads. And farm to market roads were popular in the late 50s and 60s. It was a way to fund parts of the road system. So if you hear the farm to market term, that's where that came from. We typically have 328 miles of that. And remember, there's 114 miles of paving. That's also included in there. So all our paving is farm to market roads. Typically, that's what you see, resurfacing project. Okay. This was updated in 25, so this is new from me bringing it to the board before. A county may let an FM funded project obligations not to exceed 4 years after the project's let, so you can borrow ahead. The county can borrow ahead 3 years or more, but less than 5 years. It may exceed 4 years borrow ahead limitations above the FM funded projects if all the projects are met. Basically, I'm going to kind of paraphrase this going through here. If you have other funds, like federal aid funds, you can borrow ahead up to 5 years to match that, which you can't go over. So the borrow ahead does not, as long as your borrow ahead does not exceed 4.5 years after the project is let. So if you kind of keep in mind with all this stuff here is, that's why we have a hard time keeping up with our pave system, because the majority of the money comes from the farm to market, and when you start talking about the costs of paving, it can't be done. And then it gets, a county that does not meet the preceding conditions may not let a project unless 100% of the project costs will be paid by other funds. In other words, the proposed project does not result in an increase in the county's overall project obligations. So what they're saying there is, we can't let a project borrow ahead any farther than that. If our obligations are already met, the preceding thing, we can't go ahead. So sometimes we have to wait a while. The Cummings Road is a prime example of that. That's been in the 5-year program for longer than 5 years. And the term 5-year program doesn't necessarily mean that the project is going to get completed or on the shelf in the 5-year program. It's purely for planning. Okay, STB Project Surface Transportation Grant Funds. These are collected from federal gas tax. We currently get about $400,000 a year. We're at 1.6 million, and we're 3.5 years in the plus on that. It can be used on any federal aid system route, typically used on resurfacing roads. Can't really borrow ahead on that. There's a few things you can, but generally you can't. It's managed through the Iowa DOT regional planning affiliations. So Central Iowa Planning Region is ours, and then you'll hear the word TIP. So all that has to go through federal planning for us to get it. The reason we're 3.5 is the last time we used that was on the Maxburg project, and that's been about 3.5 years ago. 4 years in time it was led. I know this map's hard to see, but your purple and yellow, and all up there are all those routes. They're basically the same as the FM routes. So that's where that money can be used. And that's a lot of times when you get into projects and trying to plan these things, especially bridges. On roads that don't see a lot of traffic, they don't meet any requirements for any aid, so we can't afford some of this stuff. So, all right, into HBP and swap money. We get about $930,000 a year to be eligible for HBP, and we just kind of talked about that just a second ago. It must be classified as poor, have an average daily traffic count of greater than 25 or equal to. This is a bunch of stuff here, but basically this comes from road use tax, and there's a distribution to the counties for this. That's how it gets to us. We can borrow ahead up to 4+ and be in the hole 4 or 5. Currently, we're at 0.6. Well, we've had bridge projects. We're gonna have some more, and that's why it's important to get other funding sources to combine with this. And the question that was brought up earlier is our match money. A lot of times with HBP and HBP swap monies, they're matched. 80-20 is a common substitute. So federal aid's 80%, either local or an FM would be the match to it. So if you're talking about $1 million projects, it all adds up.
Can you piggyback state and fed?
Yeah, yes, it's possible to piggyback an HBP and HBP swap and an FM. That's part of the 5-year program, is try to get that plan. Okay, the construction, funding continued. We have HSIP, TSIP, those are safety programs. Those are basically from the state. We've got, I mentioned County Bridge Construction Fund. We get that about 8 to 10 years. We apply for it every year. It goes out to other counties, take their turn. It's based on need. It's based on going back to how bad the bridge is, basically. There's congressional money, which we were lucky enough to receive some of that. That's the first time in my 33 years of doing this, actually 37 years of doing this, that we've ever got that. So, and then there's local, and the local is limited about, it's pretty much used for match funds, and again our daily colas. I'm gonna, as a time to kind of keep this going, there's fiscal restraints for this. The Fed fiscal year is October, ours is July. Once a project gets into the STIP and it hits the allocation year, you can't take it out because it has to be obligated. It's not fair to everybody to have a bridge in a program or a project and pull it out. So basically down below, if you would pull out a project in the obligation year, you're gonna give up another project at the same cost. So that's kind of a no-no, which makes sense because the time it takes to get there and get the funds available to it, you don't want to pull it out. Okay, where does all this come from? The Iowa DOT puts this together. I apologize, it doesn't project up on the screen as it should, but it's basically use tax money. That's what we pay at the pump, and licensing fees, and everything out of this giant diagram here. That little drain pipe right there is what comes into our farm to market monies. The others are distributed through the feds, but this is through the state. So this is where we're seeing our farm to market money get to the county level through this. There's a couple other things over here, which are the city bridge construction program and some safety items. You will see this chart again in my presentation. The thing to remember, this funding here comes from our what we pay at the pump. And right now, Iowa's at 30 cents a gallon, and the Fed is at 18 cents a gallon. And if you go over here to the side over here, it was March of 2015, the last time that they actually made a significant increase to the gas tax. Nobody likes to pay taxes, but it makes it hard to maintain the road system and keep up with the costs because construction costs have gone up. This is a chart that the DOT puts out. They keep track of every construction DOT type project that has been let since 1987. That would be on your far left over there. And as we go over to the far right, I believe that was the fall of 24. I don't think they've updated it since then, but that's where we're at. And you can kind of see it's just everything's gone up quite a bit. We are a little downstream, but you can see the trend will go back up again. Okay, so what are these costs? So I'll give you a little history here on just average cost of projects. So if you want a bridge like that, the bridge alone, 75 to 125 foot bridge is going to cost you $650,000. A 30 to 250 foot bridge is about 1.8, just the size of the stream, and that's pretty much the bridge. Resurfacing project, currently right now, a rehab project similar to what we do around here, which is 3.5 inches of asphalt, some patching is 450,000 miles. Brand new paving is running about $1 million a mile. We haven't done any brand new paving in in many, many years, because you just financially can't get it done quick.
Is that just the concrete?
That's just the
So
concrete.
you might have to buy land.
Yep, so grading runs you about 800,000. Yep, so,
So you're about 2 million.
yeah. Yep, and that doesn't include the major structures if you have bridges, smaller culverts and stuff. A box culvert, run anywhere from 200 to 750,000, depending on multiple barrels and size, so there's a little bigger drainage areas. And the culverts that we were able to repair around here, most of them are metal, smaller diameter, anywhere from 50 to 150. Now that I've completely, how do I say, maybe put you guys to sleep, I always like to show this. That'll wake everybody up. That's pile driving. Hopefully that kind of wake people up here. Things to remember about projects in the secondary 5-year construction program. Funding type may change for projects in 2 through 5. That's kind of what we were talking about before. You got to get all these funding things to work together. Must have funding in year 1. So a lot of times when I bring a document from an agreement for federal highway and DOT to the board, the agreement, that's where we're making sure we have got all our stuff ready to go and we sign that agreement so we can get the project going. A lot of that's right there around year 1. There may be no funding at all in projects 2 through 5. And a lot of the ones that we're going to get to the map are going to be that way. We are currently working on 3 bridges that are going to be part of a grant we're hoping for. There's no funding for those right now, but I have to have them in the 5-year program because they're a federal aid project and they have to hit the STIP, transportation standards. Projects as they develop may stay in there for 2 to 5 years or longer. It takes a long time to get this stuff done, development. And so here we are, the development of the projects, set of plans, and that's exciting. Development of plans and project. The development of the projects typically requires several different design disciplines or types of construction. This usually involves new construction, reconstruction, widening of bridges. Projects may include a limited amount of right-of-way, which we've just kind of highlighted there, acquisition, but not have substantial impact surrounding the property's environment. Typical projects include highway bridge construction. If everything would go to get to that, it's going to take you about 4 or 5 years to get a bridge project up and going because of all the stuff we have to go through. We have to go through permitting, core, wetlands, environmental studies, all have to be done before you even get to basically kind of a right-of-way time. So that's if everything goes right. It's great when everything goes right, but sometimes you find things when you're developing a project that just kind of drags out a little bit longer. That's just the way it is. So. All right. Since everybody's bored to death, add this real quick. Heavy lifting. So all that background information that I kind of give here is kind of the heavy lifting part of this. And now the second year 5 construction program. Here we go. So it does actually exist. There is actually paper versions of this. It's not a white unicorn that everybody thinks it is, but it is out there. All right. It looks like this. I have a copy in the office, and if anybody wants to view it, this is what it looks like. All the numbers are there. The funding is explained on the side by abbreviations, and we can talk about that. When I talk about priority years, that's what they're talking about. So this is submitted, case costs, those type of things, several pages of this. Not gonna, just want to make sure everybody know it actually exists. A lot of times we kind of skip this. This is the map that goes with it. It's kind of hard to read. I have this go up to the website, and I can have copies made if people are available, if you want to see it. It's color-coded. Green is 26, red is 27, the dark blue is 28, brown is 29, and 30 is the lighter blue. A lot of green on there is local culvert replacement. So those are culverts. Road culverts are anywhere from 18 to maybe 120 inch in diameter. We try to get those done. that year. This is also out here, and I hope technology works here for me. Oh, boy. Come on. And I also have a Google map of this thing. There we go. And if anybody wishes, they can get on Google Maps. And, oh, now I've done it. Anyway, you can select it and it'll go through the same thing. I'm not going to take a lot of time with that. Go back to the presentation. Okay.
Mike, if
Yes.
you had a bridge and you had to remove a bunch of trees and Fish and Wildlife come in and it's full of Indiana bat, endangered species,
Yes.
does that stop your project?
Yes, yes, it does. So as part of the development project, we actually, here in the state of Iowa, have to get studies on endangered species and then how to work around them or try not to disturb them, like Indiana bats during their nesting period. So there's a couple ways to do that. You actually get a full-blown study and hope there isn't any there that delays the project. Or working the time periods to construct the bridge on the Indiana bats. Yeah, lots of things like that. There's even endangered plants, insects. We've got to follow all that. Okay, so real quickly, I'll break this down into bridge repair and bridge replacement. I'll kind of break this into bridges, what goes into this. And honestly, to tell you the truth, because the funding isn't there, bridges, you have to find the money to meet the type of bridge that you can replace, and a lot of it has to do with how bad the bridge is. It's raining. So we go through a lot of things: efficiency rating of the bridge, detour lengths, widths, cost vehicle ratio, conditions. We talked about some of the requirements that are there. This is a nice interactive map. There's a website for DOT, so get it. We're not the only people in this. All of the state of Iowa is in this. Happens to be that circle. We have 208 bridges in this county that are longer than 20 feet long. And if you look at I'm going to go to the graph up there where it says 4, the kind of reddish brown, that's the ones that are important. Those all need to be replaced. Good are good, and fair are fair. And at $1.8 million a pop or $1 million a pop, it's hard to get all that done. We were, the good news is last year when I presented this, we were at 210. So we gained a little bit, but as 1 year goes by, and then the bridge gets better. And if you think about the infrastructure when it's put in, a lot of it's done after World War II. These structures are, 75 years old that we're driving across. And it's all going to hit at once. So we're not the only people, but that's the story. And to get these things worked in, it's tough. And I'm going to just there's other things up here that has to do with it. Some of it's engineering judgment. Some of it's just finding the right grant to match the money up for it. So funding. Keep kind of going here, more construction. There's the map broken down with just those bridges. Again, you can see that on the interactive map. I'll get that posted to the website. There's really nothing new here except the 3 bridges that we've talked about before that we're trying to slip in 27 grant time period. Hopefully we get that. Culverts. A lot of the culverts are done here locally, and there are so many culverts in this county, they never did a inventory of them. Millions of culverts, crossroad culverts. Yeah, and we try to get anywhere from 16 to maybe 30 of them replaced a year, and we do that for all the funding.
Any box culverts do that?
Box, I don't know. Isn't that terrible? I don't know. I know the ones that are over 20-foot span because they have to be inspected annually. The others that don't. And unfortunately, culverts, it's triage. When we find them, we put them on a list, and you patch some things up, get through a few years, and then get them replaced.
And that's the one I missed.
That's exactly what's going on the Peter Road right now. They've got it closed just because of that kind of same thing. Maybe we get it patched up. Hopefully to get that road open this week. So there's your culverts. Those are all in green. There's so many of them to plan them out that far is about near impossible. But those are the ones we're going to try to get this year. Ready? Pavement rehab. Condition of the existing pavement, type of improvement, resurfacing, whether it's pulled in place, recycle job, PC or AC type paving material, service, crack seals, patching, and again, funding available. And it's that funding game. We see a lot of this. We see a lot of that everywhere. resurfacing, very, you don't do a lot of new paving, it's the cost. Remember, a project like that's 450,000 a mile. So we don't have a lot coming right away. There's HSIP project, there's a joint project that's green up in the park. Upper left hand, that's between Dallas, Guthrie, and Adair and us. There's a mile there, we got some safety money. We also have some, I believe it's TSIP, that's in red, that's up on the curves there, that's coming. And then the Earlham Road, it's starting to have some issues and planning on trying to get funding in 2030 for it. So it's a ways out. Remember, we're borrowed 4 years ahead. In the meantime, we have a small project maybe on Hamel that you get in there, and that's part of this thing, is cash flowing this into the future. Now, if something changes in the world, then that changes. But it's a plan. Road grading, pretty much non-existent. It's just we don't have the money to do it. Have to report anything that's 500 feet longer. We have one that's been on here for quite some time. It has some culvert issues that we're trying to get solved before we get to that part. We're going to try to do that with some day labor forces. This is just a quick map of all the day labor jobs. And when I say day labor, those are projects that we're trying to accomplish with our own people. So, this is a combination of, there's a little bit of grading in there, mostly culverts and some minor bridge repairs and stuff. I kind of highlighted that earlier. Hopefully we get a nice smooth road when we get done with all this stuff. And that's the end of the 5-year construction program. I am going to fly through the budget real quick and then turn it back over to you. I apologize. This is super exciting stuff. Same thing, kind of saw this before. This has to be done by April 15th, sent to them. They've looked at that, and then we follow up. This is daily stuff. This includes large projects that are in this budget. This is DOT budget. This parallels our regular budget. Includes day labor. And includes daily operations: rock surfacing, traffic control, snow removal, ditching, brush control, bridge and culvert, patching, pavement, shouldering, blading, and equipment maintenance and operations. So there's a lot of stuff that's going on with this stuff. It looks like this, and has some mighty large numbers on it. The best way to kind of explain some of this is, where does this come from? Okay. All right, this is coming over here again from property tax. This is our road use money. We have a little bit of what Time 21, that was some legislative things to help boost that stuff. And then it all comes down to this spot right here, which is the counties. And so this is revenue, just real quickly. If you look at the purple, that's what I just explained. It's around $4 million. It comes into us for these projects. And also, I'm trying to put this technology here from so here, this is road use money. There's a little bit of this that's road use money. What you see over here is this pass-through. We talked about other federal aid money. It comes through where we have a bridge project, for example, that is a reimbursement. So we're going to pay for the money, pay for the bridge, and as the project goes on, we ask for reimbursement. So this is our big pieces of pie right here that comes right here. Over here, this is property tax. This is based on the levy, and there's minimum requirements. So right now, currently, if you add these two numbers together, that's what comes there. It's about 2.5. I did that correct. Yeah. And 4.1 for road use tax, and a little bit of time one's half a minute. This over here is what they call fund balance, and the state of Iowa recommends that we have a fund balance. And any of these monies that come into the secondary road department, into the county, and then it's distributed to the secondary road department as road use money. And Iowa code says that once it's intermingled, it has to go to roads. So they recommend to have a reserve, because when you have years when you have a disaster, and we're going to get to talking about changing this real quick, is if we have a tornado that wipes out our maintenance facility, or I believe was in 2016, the roads got really bad, and we spent $1 million in less than a month. So the reserves is there for a reason. Catastrophe, blizzard, snowstorm. If transmission falls out of the maintainer, that's not considered. So you have to budget for those type of things. And this will be posted on the website too. It's a quick breakdown of the funds.
What's the timeline of reimbursement?
Every time there's a payment for a claim for a bridge project, we submit it. So we try to pay the contractor in 2 weeks. By the time we get the paperwork back, we try to get that back and at least from the state within a month or two. So we try to cash flow that right through as fast as we can. I have to do that. Secondary road budgets basically has 4 categories. When I'm talking about this, is the DOT, is administrating and engineering, roadway maintenance, general maintenance, construction. We have to follow out the code, and we can't exceed any of these items by more than 10%, and cannot even exceed the entire budget by a cent. And only budget meant for unforeseen circumstances. Again, that's what we're kind of talking about. You can't move money from one category to the other. So let's say, for example, construction, we save some money there. We can't move it to road maintenance. You know, you can move it following budget year, and that's why we have carryover balance. And then the carryover balance is constitutional protected, and that's in Iowa Code 331. This is just a quick DOT graph of the different many categories that are in the Iowa DOT budget. They parallel our regular budget. Here's the budget. It does exist. Those are the DOT categories are up there. Something I know it's hard to see, but this right here where it says roads, and when we come over here, it says 3.6 million. Okay, if you remember, revenue from local taxes were around 2.5. Go to the next one here. And I'm going to start this. If you guys aren't asleep now, I'm almost done. So things to remember, we have 744 miles of rock surface roads. We're only able to surface about 180 miles a year because the material cost alone is at $2 million. So if you do the math on it, it's every 4 or 5 years before we can put about 400 tons a mile. 400 tons a mile is only about like this. But it is rock surfacing. That's kind of an example of what they do out there to try to get it surfaced. Here is our expenditures, and if you kind of look at the red here, that's the biggest piece of the pie, which we were talking about, a lot of the rock roads. That's right here. That's this right here. Okay. Over here, general roadway construction. That's that pass-through we were talking about. So if you see 2 million there, 2.7 million, and we were 1.8 on revenue, that's the difference between that match money that we were kind of talking about. The other big item down here is equipment operations, which is fuel. That's a big part of it. And then over here is another big expenditure is new equipment. And the reason that we have new equipment is because our equipment's 20 years old. Maintainers they have a life cycle, and currently a maintainer's running about $400,000. We budgeted to try to replace a couple of those. And we have 12 of them, so they're old in the fleet. You gotta have rocks, you gotta have maintenance. This will also be on the website if you're interested in more stuff. Otherwise, the other stuff's in there, traffic controls, clearing, snow and ice removal. Hopefully, everybody isn't kind of spinning around in circles after this, after I've totally kind of bounced around with a lot of stuff. And we're kind of at what I call the controlled stop. And I thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm sorry I took probably way too much time. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'll see the roll here. Do I want to talk out there? I think I talked to you. Oh, no.
Okay, we are in our time for public comment. What I'd ask is come up to the podium and speak into the microphone. Please say your name and where you're from. You have 3 minutes. So we'll go to folks in the room first. And then if there's anybody on the phone that wishes to comment, we will go from there. Or on the hall. We do have a space limitation, so if I can ask that if you've spoken and, speak loud so we have room, we can bring other people in here. So, because I see there's some folks out there in the hall. So, whoever wants to jump up first. we have no one in the room that wants to speak yet. Is there anybody? Oh, sorry, hold on a second. There's someone coming up.
James Phillips, Winterset, long-time listener, first-time caller. This would appear to be unusual, right? It's my understanding that the Board of Supervisors position is supposed to be boring. It's a part-time position that's a toll gate for the other department heads to funnel funds and asks through for everyone in Madison County. That's not what it is right now, right? We've got an unprecedented 3 months this year with one person, our treasurer, having problems with a lawsuit, our auditor filing something with the Supreme Court of Iowa, trying to hire the same person 3 times, a consulting company that is now being investigated by Iowa as well. This is not normal. And all we want is to get back to normal. We just want your jobs to be boring again, right? We want you to take ideology out of it. What's the best value for our tax dollars? What services can we offer to the most people? That's all we want. When that happens, this goes back to being boring. You don't have a room full of people. You don't have the press. We just want that again. We want the toll gate function. We want it to be boring. That's all I got. Thanks.
Mike Fletcher, Riverside, Iowa. Thank you. I would like for all of us to eventually get some answers on Craig Bergman and what services we actually received as taxpayers for that $7,300 for that 2 days he was here, other than him downloading data from the auditor's office, which I have been told by several parties he did, so. And I know that you've had an ongoing friendship or relationship with him for going on 6 years, so I'm assuming that's how he came into being contracted with the auditor's office. And that old post here prove it going back to 2020, March, where you commented on this page. And it's interesting that he came in within 30 days of the election into the auditor's office. And a lot of your conversations were about investing county money through him with Bitcoin, and that he would have his licenses by then. It's all here. It's factual information, so you can raise your eyebrows all you want. But at some point, we'd like an answer on what we got for that $7,300. And I think we're entitled to that. And instead of reading any of these tonight, I'm just going to let it go right there. And thank you very much for your time.
My name is Susan Mrzena. I would like to address what everybody in this room is thinking. We are embarrassed by the behavior of our so-called supervisors. It is not acceptable to anybody that we are having underhanded, secretive hires or try to hires. And I know well what that's like, working for a company that was famous for nepotism. I worked for CTEC for 20 years. I know what it's like to hire somebody under the table. I don't appreciate it. I know that no one else here does either. And we don't want to see it go on anymore. Remove your egos and let's get to doing the job that you've been voted to do. We also would are thinking of trying to find a way to recall some of our elected officials because we're so dissatisfied with the work that you have attempted to shove down our throat. Thank you for your time. I forgot to ask about the librarians.
Hi, I'm Marisa Schneider, Winterset, Iowa. First, I want to thank the Board of Supervisors for moving one of their meetings to the evening so more people can attend. Many of us work for a living, and I really appreciate that you're giving us the consideration in order to come here. So thank you very much, Board of Supervisors. This gives us an opportunity for more of the public to attend. Second, I want to also thank the Board of Supervisors for doing everything, including making some very difficult decisions to lower our taxes. Thank you. As a retiree, every penny counts in my budget. Thank you, Board, for taking care of my every penny that you can. I also want to thank the county employees of Madison County who did not get raises. I appreciate your sacrifice, I get it, and I thank you. That can't be said enough. I thank the employees of this county. A special thank you goes to our Board of Supervisors and the Auditor for setting the standards of raises for elected officials. They asked for no raises. Money is tight for many of us, and I appreciate your efforts and your kept promises that were made during campaigns. I really truly believe that. Thank you very much. And thank you, since all the employees aren't here, also the employees. Thank you.
Anyone else? Is there anybody out in the hall that would like to speak?
Hello, Carol Freeman from St. Charles, Iowa. I also would like to thank the Board of Directors for holding a meeting in the evening hours so that those that work during the day can attend. We appreciate that. We appreciate the efforts of everyone in making sure that Madison County tax money is spent in an efficient and frugal manner and looking after how that tax money is spent. I think it's very important that there has been this attention on hiring practices in Madison County and that practices are followed in a legal and equitable manner. I urge the supervisors to continue to ensure that those practices, hiring practices, are legal for every position in the county. I'm also deeply concerned about the lawsuit that was recently filed by the Auditor's office, and I encourage the supervisors to do everything they can in addressing that matter. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Jennie Hargrove, and I'm from Van Meter, Iowa. And I would just like to start the evening off by saying that I don't believe that it's a source of enthusiasm or pride that we did not give our county employees a raise when the cost of living is skyrocketing. Has anybody bought a carton of eggs lately? I don't think that not giving people a raise is something to be looked upon with great enthusiasm. And so I would ask that our county supervisors get it together. I think our perspectives are wrong and we are looking at things the wrong way. Our county employees are human beings who deserve respect in the departments they work for, from the public, but additionally from the supervisors. Additionally, I would ask that the supervisors really consider whether or not they're here to do the job or they're here for their egos. And if you're here for an ego, I would ask kindly that you consider resigning and letting someone else do the job who would like to do it. Thank you. I yield the rest of my time.
Anyone else like to speak?
My name's Pat Navin, I'm from Winterset. I wasn't really prepared or anything, but with all this controversy coming up, I did reach out to Supervisor Fitch, calling back the same day. I reached out to Supervisor Hobbs. She met with me, had a good conversation. I'm not saying we agreed on everything, but there were things we agreed on, and I felt good about that. I tried to reach out to the auditor. I stopped in an office several times, different times of day. She was not there. I left my number, never called me. She had a huge problem with that, especially with all the controversy. And that's all I got.
Is that right, your last name?
Navin, N-A-V-I-N.
Is there anyone in the hall? Oh, no. All right, we'll move to folks on the phone. Is there anybody on the phone that wishes to comment? Please make sure you unmute. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, can you repeat that, please?
This is Chris Bourne from Winterset Union Township. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, we can hear you. Go ahead and proceed.
Okay, so is the gentleman that gave the presentation still around?
Oh.
I have one question.
The county engineer.
The county engineer, no, I don't know if he's still here or not.
Yeah, he's here.
Yes, he is.
Oh, he is still here?
Okay.
Hold on, he's still here, hold on.
Come back in.
What's your question?
So the question for the engineer is when, you know, things like the maintainer, when you're purchasing large, you know, equipment and or aggregate, you know, supplies for upkeep of the roads and what have you, is that done through, you know, best bid? You know, it's sent out to multiple people, multiple companies to bid, or is it done kind of government style, $100 screwdriver kind of concept? Just curious how we, you know, how we obtain large purchase of equipment. You know, is the best deal being sought after?
Oh, that's a great question. I can go into more detail if you'd like to call me in my office. But generally, yes, we take bids for materials and large scale equipment, also take bids for that. There's also a great, I won't advertise for them, but a thing called Sourcewell, where there's already government spec'd large pieces of equipment out there. A lot of times we reach out to that as a base, and we try to even get better Sourcewell pricing. There are codes in Iowa that require us to take certain items to bid, and there's a bid threshold. And I believe right now bid threshold on total projects is $115,000. But if you wish to have more information about that, you can always contact my office. My number's there on the website, or you can also send me an email. Thank you.
Thank you.
That's great. That answers my question. Thanks so much. And I do have one comment for the supervisors. You know, thank you for what you're doing. I don't think ego is at play here, regardless of political affiliation with any of you. I think it's a thankless job, probably underpaid for a quote part-time job. It's very likely full-time. So I think you all are doing the best job you can. Nothing you do is going to ever satisfy that group in front of you or on this phone fully. You know, all I can ask is that you just keep up, you know, with hold up to what you campaigned and what you said you'd do. Other than that, that's the best you can bring to the table because you're never going to make anybody happy. And thank you for lowering our taxes. I appreciate it. That's all I have to say.
Thank you, Chris. Is there anyone else on the phone who would like to speak? Anyone else before we close public comment? Okay, we're gonna go ahead and close public comment and move on to resolutions for board consideration. Thank you all for commenting. I would ask you to mute your phones if you could now, please. Okay, the first resolution is approving a new fire alarm system for the Madison County Courthouse. Chip, did you have anything you wanted to say about that?
How old is it? 20 years old, and we can no longer get the.
And when are they gonna be doing it, please?
Probably in late summer.
Okay. Thank you. All right, I'll entertain a motion to approve, resolution to, purchase a new fire alarm system for the Madison County Courthouse.
So,
Do I have a second?
Second?
All right, any discussion? All right, all in favor, please vote aye. Aye. All opposed? Okay, motion carries. Next resolution is approving L. Mathis full-time first deputy auditor at $60,318 a year, effective 31 March 2025. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Do I have a second? I will second it. Any discussion?
yes, I realize fully that there is nothing holding elected officials to follow county handbooks. If they want to hire, they can hire. They probably don't legally have to practice best management practices. But I feel, I've lived here most of my life, I grew up here. If we lose public trust, I think we lose everything. And we just need to be upright and honest and open, and I don't agree with this. I think it should be posted. I think it should go to HR. I think background checks should be done before they're elected. I think all that, hired, I think all that is incredibly important.
It was posted. But you were passed back.
But she's worked with you quite a few days before.
One day. One day. Anyway, do you have anything, does anyone else want to say anything?
I hear the new employee is doing a great job, and I'm looking forward to ensuring that we have timely bill payment
Payroll?
and payroll, and so our employees continue to get paid. And which, I'll go ahead and point out too, that the county employees did receive a raise this year. That
They
wasn't
did.
an accurate statement. They got a 2.5% raise, everyone except elected officials. And all union negotiated wages. So, our county employees did get a raise this year. Just want to make sure we get that clarified.
Only elected officials did.
Just elected officials, correct.
All right, any other discussion? All right.
Yeah, I'd like to say something.
Oh,
Is it
no.
Heather?
Who is this?
It's Terry.
Oh,
This
Terry.
is Terry.
Terry, okay, sorry, go ahead.
Yes. Yeah, I just wanted to make a quick comment here about the background check. I just wanted to apologize for the oversight on my part with the background check. I was just eager to get her started in the office, and with my excitement, I unfortunately overlooked the detail of the background check, and as a result, she worked 11.5 hours before the background check came through. So I take full responsibility for that, understand the importance of that procedure. So that won't happen again moving forward. I just overlooked it with my excitement. And the 11.5 hours that she worked without the background check wasn't worth hurting her for my mistake when she's working so hard and she's doing such a good job. So thank you.
Thank you, Terry. Anyone else want to say anything? Okay, all right, all in favor, please vote aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Nay.
Okay, motion carries. Approving wage adjustment for Stephen Fox to 25.16 an hour due to his anniversary step raise and longevity increase per the union contract, effective April 21st, 2025. Do I have a motion to approve?
So,
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, please vote aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Next resolution is approving county benefits and health care plan. This one I wanted to let you guys know about this one. The additional amendments or the additional add-ons that we decided to do this year to automate stuff, that is actually, has a separate contract. So I was not comfortable just adding and amending this, so what we'll probably have to do is, because it's a separate contract, we'll have to do a special meeting for that. So put that in the back of your brain, we'll discuss it in the meeting. So, just want to let you guys know that that is just the standard renewal of our normal benefits on here. It's not the add-on we chose to put in this year.
That's the one that.
The Navigator.
Cheaper, yeah.
Okay, so go ahead. Approving county benefits and healthcare plan. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
And it was, our insurance was pretty stagnant.
Yes, I think everyone's insurance is going to pay a buck.
Not much.
Not much, so that's nice. Okay, all right, any other discussion? All right, all in favor, please vote aye. Aye. All opposed, motion carries. Moving on to approving, secondary roads 5-year construction program and budget. So, thank you again, Mike, for that wonderful presentation. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All right, all in favor, please vote aye. Aye. All opposed, motion carries. Now, the next ones are work agreements. I would like to see if the board would be willing to approve those in bulk. So it would be,
Would that be okay, Mike, or do you need a second?
Perfectly fine, they're all the same thing, they're all day labor construction projects.
so that would be F through, it will be F through O. So resolution, I'm sorry. So we'll go ahead and that is bullet point F through O on the agenda. Do I have a motion to approve these work agreements between Madison County Secondary Roads Department and the various different resident owners of these properties?
I would make a motion to approve the bullet points F through O.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All right, any discussion? All in favor, please vote aye. Aye. All opposed, motion carries. Okay, moving on down to bullet point P, approving temporary road closure on Hebrew Road from Wild Rose Avenue to Rustic Avenue for pipe replacement effective April 4th, 2025. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
Is that close to done? How many days?
Locates are in, hopefully tomorrow we'll be able to dig.
All right, any other discussion? All right, all in favor, please vote aye. Aye. All opposed? Okay, motion carries. Moving on to applications for licenses, permits. We have a motion to approve the application for the use of Madison County grounds for wine walk in Winterset on Saturday, May 10th, 2025, from 11 to 8. Can I get a motion to approve, please?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, please vote aye. Aye. All opposed, motion carries. Moving on, can I have a motion to approve the application for the annual liquor and wine license for Lakeview Country Club of Madison County, doing business as Lakeview Country Club located at 3724 Lakeview Lane in Winterset. And first, do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All right, all in favor, please vote aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay, moving on to board member reports. Whoever wants to go first.
I have some few meetings regarding the public health building and that move, just trying to make sure that we're being as proactive as possible to work with the people affected and ensure their needs are met with the new space. And we had an EMA commission meeting, emergency management commission meeting, and working through some upcoming stuff for next week that I'm going to set up. So, that's about it.
I had an opioid meeting. I don't know, this is kind of interesting. It's the pharmaceuticals were sued for the opioid problem, and so counties received a great deal of money, and our opioid task force, we call ourselves, we have partnered with the mental health, it's called Turning Point, and all 3 schools, and we have them all on board, and we will be able to hire a counselor that will go back to all the schools. So that's where we moved very quickly, and that's coming together very nicely. I had heard a meeting, that's your public transportation, and CCOG, which is Southern Iowa Council of Governments, and we just approved a very large housing complex in Southern Iowa, because we just know where to live. And it was a bank approved because they owe very little money on it. So those are real positive things.
Well, we all had budget meetings. We had our budget hearing. We met with True North to go over our benefits, which I think was very positive. I was very surprised that
Very pleased.
we're gonna have very little increase. Had them a tour meeting and met with a few constituents about some road issues, some ditch issues, which I'll talk to you about later. But other than that, nothing else. All right, any old business to discuss? Any new business? So the one we have on our agenda right now are the appraisals for the buildings. As you know, we're required to, when we sell property, we have to get them appraised, and then we have to auction it off. And it can't be auctioned off for less than what it's appraised for. So, we looked into was that you, Jess, that looked into the cost, or was it you, Diane? It was you. So you want to speak to that?
Sure. I reached out to local banks, and they told me what appraiser to use, one that was familiar with rural areas more and commercial, and county conservation is declared as ag, and we would leave that, and if they want to change the classification, they can. So we would want to go to the higher amount because it's much more detailed for the appraisal. County Conservation Board, I did a lot of research. I gave them a big file, and we will turn that over to their board, and then they can kind of decide. They will have to have it surveyed. It's a very wonky piece of ground, and it's a little bit interesting, and so we'll turn that over, and they can kind of decide how to move on, and that's where I'm at. And then we will get, we can help the Conservation Board with surveyors. We can't do it as a county, it's a conflict of interest, but the county can help them find people to use.
So should we send a meeting to talk about, moving forward with the appraisers, or what are your thoughts?
If you want to move forward, I'll move forward. We can get going. I think Conservation Board, we're going to kind of put it to them, and then they can move forward, because that's their own board. I will move forward if you want me to get it appraised, I will.
Okay, so we'll probably have to get that on the agenda.
Okay, we can put
to
that as.
approve, and then we'll have to find where in our budget.
Yeah, we'll go with the higher amount because it's much more detailed, so, okay, sure. We'll put that on the agenda.
All right. Thank you for doing that. Sure. Okay, we're now on to 2025 priorities, ordinance review and update. So, last I heard from Ryan, they are working on scheduling dates to meet with the consultant.
Oh, I talked to him.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Yes, he's on board with them.
Have they gotten a date together? I know last, they were working on.
We
doing
talked
dates.
about a bunch of things because he helped me. I think yes. Better run it by
We're
you.
gonna
but
start. Okay.
He got in touch with me.
Good. And then the last one is the ARPA project updates. Do you want to give them?
Nice, what's on third floor completed.
Oh, wonderful.
We're still waiting on the arrival of the generator and for Monument Park, we're waiting on the status of the stuff.
Chip, once those mini splits are done, when we can afford it, can we remove the air conditioners?
That's,
So we can get those out as soon as that mini split's up and functioning?
it's up and functioning now, so
Oh.
we can start reaching out to replace.
So we'd have to call Marvin Windows and start getting those out. Thanks, Chip.
So who wants to speak at that?
Chip and I can, do you want to wanna do that?
Since they're only talking to you.
Yeah, Marvin, yeah, they don't love me, but it's okay.
So you said you're waiting on the generator to get in, and you're waiting on the stone?
Stone status.
Okay, thank you very much for that, Blake. All right, so why don't we go ahead and set a date so we can get a special meeting, so we can get that, the additional add-on to the benefits, get that contracted and get it approved. So what are your guys' schedules like?
I would also like to review our board policy, just the order that we're doing things.
Yes.
So let's talk about that at this special session as well.
Yeah.
How soon are we wanting to do this? Is
Well,
Friday afternoon?
Well, for this add-on, and if they can't do the online thing for the benefits until we get that.
Until we do it.
So this is something we need to do fairly quickly. So I would, because they can't work on it until we sign the contract, so.
Would
to
Friday
allow-
afternoon work for us?
How about
Thursday?
if we would give Michaela enough time to post,
Post it.
if we could get it on Thursday, how does your schedule look?
I could do Thursday, first thing in the morning would probably be best, but
Like 8?
We could go 7:30 if you want it that early.
how about 8, so I have a chance to start my day first and.
Okay, so, well, if we do 8, that means it has to be posted by 8 tomorrow.
Is that doable for, well, yeah, that's.
That's
we
okay
could just
for you?
push it. We
Okay.
could push it.
And
This is to go over the.
I think it's physical posted at the annex and the courthouse tonight. The only concern is solutions.
It takes them a bit.
If I email them tonight, they'll post it in the morning. Where my worry would be on that is it would get posted at 2 or 3.
Should we just say 9?
I think that
Should we do 9?
I
Would that
can
be
do
okay?
I think even 8:30 would be fine. They generally
Okay.
answer back shortly after 8. I don't want it to be like 8:02, 8:03, they get a
Right.
violation.
And this is the final of the insurance.
This is for the add-ons we wanted to get, and then for insurance, and then you said you wanted to go over that. Did we want to, put on there to talk about the appraisals too?
Doesn't give me much.
Well, he's
I mean, that's not a rush. We don't
He's
have to-
already given the quotes, I'll just say,
I
go
mean,
do it.
like a resolution to approve.
Yeah, we could write a resolution to approve him, so I can call him.
Or do we wanna push that a little bit, because the reason why I want this rushed is for the insurance.
Right.
And I don't wanna, put too much on here right now, because we wanna get it up there, up on the website. So, we still don't know where we have the funds coming out of though. So we'll have to go to Terry and ask where we can pull that money from. I mean, conservation I'm not worried about, but we need to know it's in the current, because this is coming out of the fiscal year
It's
'25 budget.
$2,000. Do you want to, you can wait for a regular meeting, I mean, it's not like, I can do it.
Are you okay waiting for a regular meeting?
Yeah, we can wait for a
Okay.
regular meeting.
All right, so
We'll
just
plan on doing
the
that
2
2
weeks, yeah, the 2 weeks.
And we'll have the resolution ready, we'll do it at a regular meeting. Yeah, we can do that.
So that, so just those 2 things, so the resolution to approve the contract for the add-ons for the Navigator for True North, and then going over the, board policy for meetings to flip around the agenda stuff, so, okay. So we'll do, what do you guys think, 8:30, 9 o'clock on the 10th?
Michaela said 8:30 would work, and that's early for Jazz, that's fine with me.
They usually, as long as solutions can, I'll email it into them tonight, and they usually answer shortly after 8, so as long as you get it posted by 8:30, that should be fine.
Okay.
Yeah, and then I can get it posted on the boards.
Okay.
Are you okay with 8:30? Jess? Okay. All right, we'll go ahead and put down 8:30 for the 10th for a special meeting to go over those 2 items and consider approval. All right, anything else that you guys want to talk about? All right, okay, well then I will entertain a motion to adjourn. Got a second? All in favor, please vote aye. Aye, we are adjourned. Thank you, everybody.
Next time.
Yeah.